What are we going to do in this video, Brain?
The same thing we'll do in every video, Becky. Try and take over the world. With science!
Hello everyone, my name's Rebecca and I'm a neuroscientist here to talk to you today about all things neuro and science. And in this video I wanted to tackle another one of the most common questions I get asked. So, what happens when you... Oh no, I had this a second ago. Hang on. It'll come to me. So what happens when you walk into a room? When you walk into a room and then... something happens. Memory is a fickle beast, and though most of us think of memories as being like photographs which concretely capture a moment in time, the truth is that memory is a lot more malleable than we often give it credit for. A great example of this is what we in the biz call flashbulb memories. These are memories that people can recall with amazing levels of clarity and confidence, usually associated with big emotional life events. A classic example for anyone born before 2011 is that most people can remember in great detail where they were when the Twin Towers were hit. But interestingly, when researchers put these memories to the test, they found they're actually no more accurate than the average memory. It's only our confidence in them which has increased. Another great example that I've talked about in previous videos is the Mandela effect, where we collectively as a society just seem to remember things that aren't true. The Monopoly Man's monocle, the F in double stuff Oreo, and Nelson Mandela himself, who people seem to think died in the 1980s in prison, despite the fact he actually died in 2013. Yeah, Nelson Mandela was alive when the film Tangled came out. The truth is, memories have never been as infallible as we often seem to believe, with some research studies even implanting false memories just to really drive this point home. But it gets even more interesting when we look into the science of why and how we remember certain things. Let's start with short-term memory. The golden rules here are that short-term memory lasts between 15 to 30 seconds and can hold 5 to 9 items. It's interesting that the number 7 falls right in the middle of that estimate, as we seem to quite like the number 7. 7 days in a week, 7 deadly sins. Maybe it's because on average that's how many things we can hold in our short-term memory. There are a bunch of ways that we can manipulate this limit slightly to hold more things in short-term memory, such as telling stories to connect things together and chunking pieces of information, as we often do with things like phone numbers. This? Way too many numbers to remember. But 07, 123, 456, 789, 4 chunks, easy peasy. Forgetting things from short-term memory often happens as we run out of time or run out of capacity and we haven't transferred the memories over into long-term. This is something the film Inside Out actually gets spot on. When Riley goes to sleep, her memories from the day are all transferred into long-term storage, and we think this is something that actually happens in the human brain while you sleep, and it's one of the reasons that sleep's so important. It's also why people tend to do better on memory tests the day after studying for them, when all of those memories have been sorted and put into storage. It's also why if you're studying for an exam at 2 AM, you should probably stop and take the extra hour of sleep rather than the extra hour of shoveling information into your poor little noggin. Go to sleep. Once memories are considered long-term, we split them up further into 3 categories of memory: episodic, semantic, and procedural. Episodic memories are the ones we classically think of as memories. They're events from our lives. Your last birthday, that fantastic holiday you went on with the really big ice creams, all episodic. Semantic memories, on the other hand, are our memories of concepts. What things mean, what things are. What is an elephant versus a duck? In certain types of dementia, it's actually semantic memories which are the first to be hit. And so if you ask patients to draw those animals, they'll start to look weirdly similar as the boundaries of these concepts begin to collapse. A type of memory that's almost never lost, though, are procedural memories, our memories of how to do things. Unlike other types of memory, these bad boys are also non-declarative, which means they're not available for conscious inspection, aka you can't think about them too hard or they kind of get a bit wibbly. This is why it's so difficult to teach people to drive cars or think about how to hold a pen. They're just things you do. Procedural memories. A big way we've confirmed the existence of these different types of memory are using case studies of individuals who've lost one or more of them. For example, Clive Waring was a choral master in London who suffered severe damage to his hippocampus, leaving him essentially unable to form new episodic memories. But his procedural memory was still intact, leading to this strange phenomenon where he got better day after day at a very complex task, despite the fact he couldn't remember having done it before, and couldn't even remember the researchers who visited him.
Clive really only has less than 30 seconds memory. And sometimes it's as little as perhaps 7 seconds. It's as little as a sentence.
I'm going to see your sister, Adele. Her daughter's got married recently in New Zealand. And so they're having a party.
Funny how the ladies acquire a different title when they get married.
Do you know who I'm going to see tomorrow?
Buckingham Palace.
No, really guess.
I don't know.
You don't know? Adele.
Oh, I see.
Do you know why I'm going?
No.
She's having a party at her house tomorrow.
It's her birthday, isn't it?
No.
No.
Do you know why?
No.
It's to do with her daughter.
I see.
Do you know why her daughter's having a party?
No.
Yes.
No, I don't.
She's just got married.
Oh, I see. Never seen a human being before. Never had a dream or a thought. The brain has been totally inactive. Day and night the same. No thoughts at all. And as far as I'm concerned, the doctors have been totally incompetent. I've never seen a doctor the whole time. Oh, look, it's come.
But for most of us, memory loss isn't something to be clinically worried about. It happens to us all, and it happens daily. We've all walked into a room, forgotten what we walked in for, walked out, immediately remembered again. And why? Because memories aren't formed in a bubble. Memories are formed with context. Whenever we encode a memory, we forge it or we remember it again, it's encoded with all of the context we had when we made that memory. If I'm in the living room when I realise that I need a pen, then that memory of needing a pen is encoded with all the triggers here in the living room. The blank sheet of paper staring back at me, the couch, the TV. But if I then go upstairs to grab my pen, there are none of the same triggers here. There's no blank sheet of paper, there's no couch, there's no TV, and because there's none of those triggers, I can't quite remember it. It's much more difficult to do. Until I go downstairs again to the living room, blank sheet of paper, couch, TV. It was a pen! I needed a pen! Then you run back upstairs and hope you remember it the second time, otherwise it starts to get embarrassing. This trigger-based recall also extends to the mental state you're in when you're learning new information. There was a fantastic study done in which researchers asked participants to learn and remember information while either drunk or sober. And surprisingly, recall was better when the conditions matched. So if you learned sober, you were better remembering while sober. But if you learned things while you were drunk, you were better remembering them when you were also drunk. So if you've ever gotten drunk and can't find your car keys again in the morning, you may need to get drunk again. So, memory is not like a camera with one flash giving you a concrete picture you can return to time and time again. Like many things in your brain, memories are ever evolving, and that means they can't always be relied upon to tell you the truth or come to you when you need them. So, the next time you walk into a room and immediately forgotten what you've walked in for, why not try visualising the room you've just left in hopes of reinstating some of those much needed context cues? And the next time someone tries to tell you that there's no practical applications to theoretical cognitive science, well, you just remind them otherwise. That's all the time we have for today, but if you have any questions about the neuroscience discussed in this video or suggestions for future videos, please do leave a comment down below. Other than that, it's time for me to head back to the lab and plan what I'm going to do for the next video. But until then, please do let me know of any progress you make in trying to take over the world with science!